Hey, good morning from the Pacific Northwest. We're going to have a discussion today about growth in aerospace. Welcome. Hey, is the aviation aerospace dead right now with the economy?
Well, you're going to want to watch this.
Absolutely. Hey, this could be the most important thing that you watch today. Stand by. Hey, welcome to our Growth in Aerospace live discussion. Hey, I wanted to ask all of you that are out there today to join us in this conversation. We're going to talk about growth in aerospace, and I got an exciting speaker with us today, and we're going to talk about space. We're going to talk about aerospace. We're going to talk about Boeing. We're going to talk about all sorts of great things. Stay with us here today, all right? Hey, while I get going here, I wanted to invite you. We're going to have live Q&A. I see we already have people joining the live broadcast. They're starting to show up. Join us. We're going to have a live Q&A session today on growth in aerospace. And in addition to that, please share this live stream so that we can get maximum amount of people that will be involved in the broadcast here today. Susan, we have an exciting topic today, which is growth in aerospace,
That's
right?
right. We have an exciting guest today.
Yeah.
We have Emily Wittman, President and CEO of the Aerospace Futures Alliance. I'm really excited to hear her because I saw her in the Leading Ladies of Aerospace, the virtual summit. So I'm
just recently
excited to, last month. I'm excited to learn more, hear more from her.
Both Susan and I have been involved in aerospace, our entire careers. Started at McDonnell Douglas, and then we moved out here. I've been involved in, airlines and in Jeppesen and different companies all over the years. And then we moved out here to the Pacific Northwest about 10 years ago now, almost 10 years ago. To come back and finish a career with Boeing. And, so today we're going to have a discussion with Emily Wittman, and we're going to focus on this exciting topic of growth in aerospace.
Well,
let's bring her right in. Hi, Emily. How are you this morning? Good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
Hi.
Really good to have you on the program here today. Emily, hey, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here this morning. I'm Emily Wittman. I am the president and CEO of the Aerospace Futures Alliance, and we are the state's advocate for aerospace companies and communities on policy issues for them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, Emily, we were just talking about coming out here to the Pacific Northwest. What makes this area so special, and why are so many companies concentrated here in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to your point, what makes our area so exceptional is the talent like yourselves that have come back or been inspired to work here in our aerospace industry. And that really is because of the investments of our major employer in Washington State, the Boeing Company. They've been here for over 100 years, and they have attracted or even inspired a lot of those aerospace suppliers to grow up and be here. We have over 1,400 aerospace suppliers in Washington State that have come around that one company's ecosystem.
1,400, that's just amazing.
I know, and I find it interesting. She says ecosystem. It's kind of like the anchor company, right? With all the suppliers coming into that are attracting companies here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's really interesting. Hey, Emily, I wanted to just tell our viewers right now, we have a lot of people that are coming on board, and we really like to know where people are. It's always good for us to know where around the world people are. And so if you've just joined our broadcast, hey, throw a comment out there and tell us where you are. And remember, we're going to be taking some live questions along the way here. And so if you have any questions that you have out there, I know you do, about aerospace in the Pacific Northwest, throw them into the comment box there. We're going to want to hear that, okay? Hey, Emily, what changes are really occurring in the region? I mean, if things really happen fast around here, and what's changing in the aviation aerospace industry in the Pacific Northwest region? What's going on?
I think what's really exciting about our area is that what's going on are really attention-grabbing headlines. You hear about it, whether it is space launches made by rockets from Blue Origin in the Kent area here in Washington, or it really is changes with our major employer, the Boeing Company, and the investments that they are making in their workforce and our community. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot in innovation and resilience going on right now as well in 2020.
You brought up space. I memean, everybody's always intrigued by, space travel. And I've noticed that like Blue Origin, Launch Alliance, SpaceX, Boeing, all those companies, have had buildings and headquarters, here in the Pacific Northwest. Why is that? Why is there a concentration of space companies in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, it's two things. One, it's again that talent and the expertise that we have. And then it's two, just the ecosystem of suppliers that we have. You can go down the street as a space company and find a really creative supplier that's able to turn around a new product for you to test in a matter of days. That's really what it is. It's that ecosystem that's built up here.
Yeah, it's interesting to have so much experience, come to the region like that. It really is,
So what changes are occurring in the space industry?
What people hear about really are rocket launches. And I think we don't tell enough our story of what is on those rocket launches, what that payload is that we create here. Nearly every single satellite that was launched in this last year had some component of it or was built in Washington State. I think we don't talk about that enough. We are a major satellite manufacturer in this state from a global perspective.
That's so interesting because, we're all suffering right now from trying to figure out where the industry is going right now. Okay. And we all know that there's some economic challenges, but over the last 6 months, one of the things that I've learned is that there are companies out there that amidst the economic challenges around us are hitting record, revenues this year, and they're growing at just amazing rates. I mean, Emily, how do you think that's even possible during such a difficult economic time?
I think it is the response of our suppliers to meet the challenge of 2020, and that is getting really creative, innovative, and resilient. So you are pivoting from your $0 intake of commercial revenue for the year into new markets or expanding other markets. Medical device manufacturing is a huge one. Space obviously is a huge one, and then defense procurement opportunities as well is what's really keeping us alive.
Yeah, pivot. I tell people all the time, Susan and Emily, is that we need to be looking at what's around us, and we need to go join, those areas where they're growing. I mean, maybe your business does or doesn't have an easy ability to be able to shift, but when you have the ability to be able to shift and to go into areas that are growing, we need to do that for the growth and the health of our companies. We really need to do that. And so obviously it looks like that's happening. Hey, Emily, I want to ask a question. This is that I've had a lot of people over the last, period of time asking, Boeing is such an important supplier and provider and OEM in our region. And like you said, is that Boeing, causes a lot of people to draw to this area and suppliers and a lot of things. Okay. But, we all heard an announcement last week, which said that 787 there'd been a decision to move that to North Carolina. The line eventually is that how do you think something like that, will affect the region when such an important wide body aircraft would move to primarily being manufactured in another state?
Yeah, it really depends on who you ask. If you ask the, elected official community and the stakeholders built around that, this was, as I think Dominic Gates put it too, would devastate the state's aerospace industry. And you didn't see that happen. If you ask our supplier community, the real impact with an 87 was the rate reduction, which we understand. There's just less market demand. That's what happens when you create an airplane program 10 years in the past and have current market demands. What really hurt us was the rate decrease. So we are still supplying components to all the 87 models, regardless if they are in Everett or in Charleston, but certainly did not devastate our aerospace economy.
Wow, that's really an interesting perspective, because that really is a whole different take on it. That's like saying, hey, the whole thing is moving and going somewhere else, versus, hey, there's an assembly line which is ramping up somewhere else, but so much of the components and the products and the support and things which come from the aircraft manufacturing come from this region. That's really, really pretty amazing. That's interesting. Right. Yeah. Hey, Emily, what about the 787? I know that what about the 737 MAX? Having been on the ground for so long, how has that affected suppliers and manufacturers?
I cannot understate the impact of that. It was already a tough time without 2020. And it would have just helped our aerospace economy be that much more resilient to 2020. I don't think you really would have seen the job losses that you have within our supplier community if the MAX had been, safely recertified much sooner. For it to continue to drag on and for airlines not be able to take delivery of those aircraft that they need and to keep older aircraft in service longer is really frustrating. So we really need the 737 MAX to be recertified and flown and approved by the FAA and international bodies, because when we can deliver those aircraft, all of our suppliers can really get paid for the components that they've already made for those aircraft.
Yeah, that was really such an important program. And, it is really a big challenge to see the challenge of so many aircraft being on the ground. I heard the other day that there was about 500 aircraft that were still on the ground, that definitely is a challenge. And, we've seen a lot of challenges always, in the industry. I've been in this industry for almost 40 years right now at this point. And, we've seen so many different things right now, and the industry will figure out how to solve, this problem. And how to move forward. There's just no question about it. But a lot of people ask about it and want to know what's happening. Right. Hey, Emily, I wanted to mention to you that we have people that always join us really from all around the world. And we have people in the Middle East. We have people in Bahrain. I have a friend of mine who joined from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, who's out there right now. There's people that are in Washington, Columbus, Ohio. We really have people all over the world that are interested in what we have to say in the Pacific Northwest about aviation, aerospace. And so, it's a great conversation. I really appreciate us being able to do this. Hey, Emily, I wanted to shift to just a slightly different subject. Is Susan, why don't you ask her about her journey in aerospace here?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know, because I know people are interested in knowing who you are, because you are leading the Aerospace Futures Alliance. So who is Emily, right? So how did you get into aerospace?
Yeah,
I think you have like a political science background, I think, as I looked at your resume.
I do. So I'm a local girl. I grew up about 45 minutes south of Seattle. And so aerospace and driving past, the Boeing buildings with the logos on the side, you grow up with that in your blood in this area, but never intended to actually get into the aerospace industry. So I worked for U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell for 4 years after I graduated from the University of Washington. And while I was there, I did a lot of job creation projects with her and with our communities. And because aerospace is a number one, employer of those jobs, we did a lot of job work with workforce development and the training pipeline and rail projects. So got to know aerospace and the amazing community we have here through that angle.
So was that a difficult journey for you to transition into aerospace aviation? I know there's a lot of people that think, gosh, I don't have that background. Can I get into that? So was that a difficult journey for you?
I really say not at all. What's so amazing about our industry is that it is so easy to learn. It is so easy to study what is going on and to keep up with what is going on in our industry. You also have an amazing wealth of knowledge here in our area, especially of people who've worked for a lot of different aerospace companies for 30, 40 years and are just really passionate about it and want to share that passion with, young talent, which is why I think we have so many, really successful intern programs and youth-led aerospace programs. So I was certainly a beneficiary of that passion that we have in this area.
That's great.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question for you. Is that I also have a big passion for aviation. I mean, some people tell me I'm obsessed. All right. I understand. but I just have to ask you this, is that, if you look at yourself and where you are in this industry right now, just what are you the most grateful for?
Or in general?
Yeah. For me, I'm most grateful for the collaboration that we have seen. Aerospace, especially in this area, has seen these really dramatic challenges, for decades, right? We've been talking about the 70s and the impact of, the wiping away of entire airplane programs and, the last person out of town, right, turn off the lights. And so we've dealt with these types of market shocks before, and we've always come out much stronger. What is really a testament to that is just the amount of collaboration. We've had suppliers who are competitors come out and say, how can we partner together on a face shield design, or here's our best practice for keeping our workers safe and our workspaces sanitary during COVID. There's just been an amazing collaboration here. And I think we're going to see some really exciting products and strategies come out of this challenge from this year.
Emily, it's just amazing to me to see, you say collaboration, it's amazing to me to see people pull together when we have challenging times. I mean, really just pull together and just a little bit later on in the broadcast, we're going to talk about summit that you have coming up. I don't want to shift to that just yet, but I just hang on and listen, because Emily is leading an amazing summit that they have coming up actually this Wednesday. And collaboration, networking are such an important part of success right now. Is that I have to admit, I'm so grateful for the ability to collaborate and to having virtual environments like this where we can reach people all around the world. I mean, heaven's sakes, a friend of mine that I haven't talked to in a couple of years, his name is Kamal Ashmouni. He's in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. He just jumped on and said, "Hi, Mark." And I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, and it's just amazing that we can have collaboration all around the world in these kind of environments. And when you have a virtual summit like what you have coming up, you can collaborate and network in a time when we can't even leave our living room. I mean, it's just amazing. It really is.
The world will be shrunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something that we have been really challenged by as an industry is that in some ways we're so old school, where contracts get made in the coffee line at the trade show, right? And you have these sort of Bob Ross happy accidents that create a new piece of technology or a new idea. And we haven't had that for a year, whether that was, going to international air shows or going down the street and being able to mingle. And so that's what we're really excited to do with the summit on Wednesday.
Well, hey, Emily, that leads me to my next question. You just said you're really excited to do that on Wednesday. I just wanted to ask you this. What right now in this time are you the most excited about?
What am I the most excited about? I am just excited about, honestly, what 2021 looks like. I think we have all been through the thick of it. I keep saying it, and you mentioned the 737 MAX program. With that, I keep saying, I feel like aerospace has been living 2020 longer than 2020 has existed, right? We have been meeting these challenges within our ecosystem and getting creative and scrappy for a while. And so I think we were really well suited to meet the challenge of this year, but we still feel like we're in battle, and we're really holding on, day by day to make sure that we survive as our companies. And I'm excited to look back and go, wow, every month was another time of inspiration and creativity and collaboration, and to look back at the silver linings of this year.
I love it when you can look forward, to what's ahead. I've always been the kind of person that's not looking and saying, "Oh, woe is me. That's what happened to me. Now this is why I am where I am." I'm always trying to assess where I am and what do I do now? How do I go forward? And so I like the fact that you're saying I'm excited about what's ahead, because what else do you have?
Yeah, because if you don't, you're stuck.
Yeah, you are.
You need to look ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be creative.
Absolutely. Hey, Emily, I have a few questions that I just wanted to throw up in the middle of this. We're going to go on to our next segment here, but I have a gentleman here, Sharad, and he said, what will be the major challenges getting back to normal situations, after this pandemic situation? If you were to give somebody like that in the industry some advice, what are the major challenges that we're looking at as we're trying to, rescale activities or shift or pivot or look what's happening around us? Just what are your thoughts on that right now for this person?
Yeah, the answer to that is like 7 different white papers, right? Depending on the angle. So there's not only the challenge of bringing your workforce sometimes physically back into the office. There's the challenge of when a vaccine will hit, and if your workforce is able to take that, and what then demand looks like for your office space and for your teams. And then there's, of course, getting all of that done while ramping up into potential rate increases or aircraft being, back on the market. It's going to hit certain parts of our industry sooner than others. I feel like one that we are really watching is, MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Right? Like we've had, like you said, 500 MAXs sitting on, a tarmac for months and months and months through a winter and through a summer. And there's, valves and other types of components that need to be repaired on that. That's a great market opportunity for those companies. We have a lot of companies that are doing sort of these retroactive coatings like Night Coat or like Teague with their air shield that will need to be installed and demonstrated on aircraft. So I think there's this excitement to get back to there, but then there's also just the retraining of your workforce, getting people back up to, regular work schedules to be able to hit your productivity. I think there's also going to be an interesting rush on the materials market. I also think there's a sense of who's going to be left at the end of all of this. We've seen, different companies obviously consolidating or closing up shop. Is your contact from your supplier that you've always worked with still working there? I think those are going to be all of the challenges and more that I haven't mentioned that we will be facing at the end of all of this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, we actually had a couple of those manufacturers on this program a couple of weeks ago. You said Nycote was one of them, and we had a few others. But it's really interesting is that I see people shifting, like what you talked about earlier on in the program, is that we need to grow and scale. That's the only way to overcome what's happening. And I am so sad is that I was walking down the main street of my small town here in Washington, and I saw some businesses that were some of my favorite businesses that were closed. And I was very sad that they couldn't make it through this time, And so the only thing that we can do is to look around and to move into where the economy is growing and to increase our activity and to grow. That's the only thing that we can do to survive, because you can't affect what's happening around you. We can only look around where's the demand within our marketplace and to grow. I mean, that's the only thing we can do to be successful.
And collaborate with the other companies, people that can help.
Well, I'm doing that all the time. Absolutely. Collaborating with people and, bringing people on this program and networking with people. And just, that's such an important part. I mean, Emily, you believe in networking, right?
Absolutely. And it's funny, we were hosting these virtual Aero Connection advocacy conversations with our legislators. One of the main things that AFA does is advocacy and tell the story of aerospace in Washington to our policymakers. And I always balance the conversation of somebody who is really, really struggling. Maybe, 60% of their revenue was in commercial and they just haven't been paid for it, right, in the last year, versus another supplier who on a different industry market would go, actually, we're having a really, really good year because of COVID. And part of that is all of the R&D and the engineering work that needs to go on to test and bring to market these innovations that are responsive to COVID right now. So people are doing very well. I know there was a big seat order the other day that was launched. And so we have companies like Jamco that'll be doing well. But all of that to say is later, again, we're just talking to our legislators. Later, two of those companies came back and said, hey, thanks for having us on. We connected and now we're going to do a contract together. And I was like, oh, I guess every opportunity, any conversation is an opportunity for those, again, happy accidents where you run into someone and you've started something new. And certainly was not the intent of that advocacy conversation, but it was a great result.
Fantastic. Hey, you brought up some of the things that you're doing right now to advocate, for the industry. Let's switch and let's talk about the Aerospace Futures Alliance. Can you tell me really who is the Aerospace Futures Alliance or the AFA? Who are they?
Yeah, so the Aerospace Futures Alliance, we represent all of the aerospace companies and communities in Washington state. So that is everyone from the Boeing company as our major employer all the way down to like Hobart Machine Products that has 10 people, right, working in Hobart, Washington. So we represent the entire supplier community on the issues that impact them most. Typically for Washington state, that has been our aerospace tax preferences and our business climate. We've been working since 2006 to preserve and protect those aerospace tax preferences here. We also have done a lot of work on workforce and making sure that we have a robust talent pipeline for those companies. And then, of course, it's getting into new markets and connecting them with opportunities for pivoting, as we've been talking about. That being said, this year has been much different as far as our advocacy goes.
So if I were just to zero that in, is that what is the goal and purpose of AFA? What are they really there for? What's the main goal?
Yeah, our mission is just to make sure that Washington remains the number one most innovative and supportive state for aerospace in the world. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's pretty concise.
That's right. Well, who's involved in it? Who's in the AFA?
Yeah. So our membership is, again, all 1,400 of those aerospace companies that do supplier work, and they are in nearly every single one of our 39 counties in Washington state. And then we also represent the aerospace communities as well that are built up around that. So that could be the local workforce system, the education system in particular, economic developers. Our board of directors, though, is just so important to me. I came into this job August of 2019 and did not expect to have the challenges of 2020 as a new young CEO. And so my board of directors has just been exceptional. They are representatives of Crane Aerospace and Electronics, the Boeing company, obviously, Hobart, as I mentioned, Sekisui Aerospace is on our board as well. Just these incredible, incredible business leaders.
Yeah. Yep. So I see that it's really a balance and a mix of business and technology, and so I see you do have, business leaders, people that are advocating for the state of Washington and, for, different things pertaining to business, but also you have a real mixture of technology providers and manufacturing and things like that. Mm-hmm. How is that important to have a balance of those two together?
It's important because, as we've been saying, we have to tell the story of the entire ecosystem, especially when, a major company like the Boeing company makes the headlines. That's what all of our policymakers see when they are scrolling through LinkedIn in the morning, right? They don't necessarily see the nuance and context of how that impacts our suppliers in their backyard. There's a really good story about how aerospace is concentrated up in the Everett area around the Everett plant. I have legislators from the Seattle area saying, well, there's no manufacturing in my district. And that's where we can point to 3 or 4 people who are not only doing, manufacturing, but are doing the engineering and the testing for these new components and design in their backyard. And they go, oh, this makes sense to me now. Now I know that I really do have to pay attention when I'm, creating policy.
Well, you brought up legislators and policymaking and things like that. Is it how important is coordinating with regulators and policymakers in the U.S. and how does that fit into the importance of success of the industry?
Yeah, so we had a major role this year as the state's trade association for advocacy with the Federal CARES Act packages. We wanted to make sure that not only our legislators were supporting the Boeing company because they are the sort of the big dog on Capitol Hill in Washington, and so we can leverage them in order to also represent our suppliers and make sure that they have access to the same resources that company did. So we did a lot of work talking to our senators in Washington state and then making sure that they had the information they needed to bring to caucus members to say, this is exactly why we need to incorporate this into the CARES Act provisions for aerospace suppliers, make sure that they are eligible and have access to the PPP programs, because we've seen now, looking, back on the last several months, those programs are what kept doors open and what kept people with a paycheck in their pocket. So that's really what we were doing this year.
Important part of everything coming together. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, thanks, Emily. Hey, I thought maybe we would have a little bit of a discussion about the summit coming up. I mean, you mentioned how important networking was. You met Emily virtually first, right?
I did,
and
yeah.
how did that come about?
Well, for the Leading Ladies of Aerospace Virtual Summit, so the collaboration of mostly women and male allies, and just talking about, collaboration, courage, those sorts of attributes that help, our businesses grow.
Yeah. Emily, last month I pulled together a virtual summit, and I can tell you that we had thousands of people that registered for it, and we had tens of thousands of people that watched it. And there's just such a hunger right now for people to be able to find ways to connect, for people to be able to network and to connect and to collaborate. And I understand that this week you have a summit, a virtual summit coming up, the 15th annual Aerospace Summit, right? That's coming up this week, right? Why don't we throw up the graphic? Well, I think we have a graphic of that here. And I think that's on Wednesday, right? I'm going to be attending. I'm already registered, by the way. So, yeah.
Yes. I suppose in answer to your earlier question, I'm very excited about our summit this year. The difference between this summit and ones previous is, last year we were talking about innovation and sort of scrambling for, what does the industry really need to hear right now? And this summit is just built around what do we need to hear right now? What is the information we need in order to make it through 2020 and plan for the long term? So I'm just thrilled that we have a really exciting program on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think you have a bunch of speakers from major manufacturers, as part of it too. You have Boeing and other people, and is there a few that you want to tell us about that are coming up in the summit on Wednesday?
Absolutely. So we've structured this summit really strategically, basically walking us through all of the questions that you might have and need answered as an aerospace stakeholder or supplier. And so we start off in the morning with, as you saw, Darren Hulse, the VP of Commercial Marketing from the Boeing company, who'll give us a perspective on the commercial aerospace market. And then we walk into a really in-depth conversation about the state of the industry, with the question really being what needs to happen in our market in order for us to get back to a return to somewhat normal. And the answer, as you'll see with our speakers from Alaska Airlines and Aviation Technical Services, is getting the confident consumer back into the air. And then we're going to have a conversation that will end our morning section about successful market strategies. How have people pivoted? What are the resources that they've been using to pivot? Where do you see opportunities, whether in space or in defense procurement or medical device manufacturing or somewhere else, for additional revenue opportunities to sort of make it through until we have a robust commercial market?
Now, hey, Emily, I've attended, a number of virtual summits and things, over the last, 3-4 months, which we're all sort of struggling for what's the right positioning to do that. But I understand that you're doing something a little bit different. This isn't just a bunch of presentations. You also have a piece of software where you're doing some networking contained within that, right? How does that work?
Absolutely. I know that I'm craving walking into a conference hall, and looking at a sea of tables or booths and connecting with people. And the platform that we are using, Remo, R-E-M-O, there's no special download that you need for it, but you walk into a virtual conference hall with your tables, and you can mingle and chat and network with other attendees throughout the day. We've also built in, which seems maybe a little counterintuitive, we built in some really long networking time for folks to be able to connect while there's also some other programming happening. But it really is an opportunity for you to come on board, sit at a table, and be able to move around and connect with other attendees and have either a chat conversation or a video conversation with them or your other table mates.
Yeah, I think that networking time is just really going to be important, and I'm looking forward to trying it out and seeing how that works virtually. I mean, I just have to be honest, is that it's just a little bit difficult. Hey, listen, I want to just share a couple things with you real quick. Is that I had not personally been to an event where you had networking time like that, and I had spoken with some people that said, "Oh, it's kind of awkward. I don't really know what to do or how to do it." And and I think it's just like anything else. Is that it's something new, and sometimes you're just not really sure what to do with it, but let me just give you some personal experience. Emily, I think it's a great thing that you're doing this right now, because in our virtual summit that we did, I'm not in the business of running, virtual events. You guys have run events for 15 years now, and it's probably just, second nature to do that. But what I did is I pulled together, I thought was an interesting group of speakers, and we had a great 3-day event, but we didn't have like the opportunity to do networking. It was all done through comments and things like that. And if I had one thing that I would have wanted to add to it, it would have been that. And so, I think you guys have set up a great opportunity for people to come to this event and to not only hear interesting information and get the state of the industry, but to be able to connect directly with, you have people from, Boeing and Airbus and the United Launch Alliance and Collins. And the list is long. You said you have a total of 1,400 affiliations, in the organization. This presents an opportunity for people to do networking, and there just are limited opportunities, to do that right now. I already see people in the comments here that are saying, "We'll see you there. We're going." And, so that's just really great, to hear that.
So are there like breakout rooms that you can go in? You're talking about these tables, like go to the Boeing table or go to, those.
Not in a breakout room sense. I think we're all so used to now the Zoom version of doing things or the WebEx version. It'll be just like an event hall. So you walk in and you're automatically put into this area of tables, and you can move around and find different people. We're not specifically having like the Boeing table, but you can search and see who is there from Boeing and connect with them. You're going to create a little virtual business card basically and link your LinkedIn to it. And so you can connect with folks that way as well. But it's going to be just some great mingling and saying, hi, I'm, Emily from the Aerospace Futures Alliance. I'm specifically looking for, a potential new partner on a component, and people can find you that way as well, right? Like you said, we have really exciting speakers. We have an entire panel with Airbus, United Launch Alliance, and then one of our local satellite manufacturers, Leo Stella, talking about opportunities they see in the commercial space market. So their teams will be with us as well. And then the one that I'm really excited about is our last panel, which is on workforce diversity and inclusion, which is a topic that we are grappling with, all the time in aerospace. And so the question for them really is, are we ahead or behind as an industry in being intentional with our workforce inclusion and diversity numbers?
Yeah, that's really an important thing. We had in our summit, we had a couple of different sessions where, we had ladies that were leaders, and it's not just about ladies, it's workforce diversity, it's inclusion of all, of everybody. All right. But because we had, Susan wanted to focus on that, and we had a couple of really great, speakers that were part of the conference who spoke on women in aviation, the diversity, and Erica Armstrong and Renee Bangelsdorf. And, we had that Stephanie Baccarosa, she's the COO of Airspares Unlimited, a company which, provides, landing gear components in the industry. And it just was great to hear a different perspective and some of the challenges that those ladies have seen over the years of getting into, those kind of roles and those responsibilities. I mean, heaven's sakes, Renee Bangelsdorf, she's CEO of a company that's selling, business jets today, and they're wildly successful. And Erica Armstrong, I look and she has
found out that was a growing industry.
Oh yeah, the growing industry. Business aviation is a growing industry. Yeah. But Erica Armstrong, also she has 500,000 followers, and I'm like, I wish I had 500,000 followers, Yeah. But anyway, it's really great to see that you're focusing on that, because I do think that's a really important part of success of business in any time. Especially when we're looking to optimize our workforce. There's no question about that. Yeah. Hey, Emily, there's people, in there that's saying, hey, we'll see you there. And, sounds like it's going to be pretty exciting. Can't wait to see how it works. I mean, we've got all kinds of people that are jumping in and saying they're going to participate. So that's really great. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, listen, Emily, I have people that join this broadcast from all around the world. Simon Barker is a friend of mine. He's on here from London, and we have a lot of people that always join us from Brazil. Many folks were here in Brazil, and so let me just ask you this question: is that from an international perspective, is that are there opportunities for collaboration internationally with people? I mean, does Washington focus on international export import? I mean, what is that all about?
Absolutely. So Washington State is the #1 state for trade in the United States. And so our Department of Commerce and our trade office there has a really robust group of people who that's all they do. And they're the ones who were, developing our trade show agenda, but are constantly looking for opportunities. So if you have an idea of, hey, we really are looking for a partner on, this new program, they're the ones to reach out to, or myself, and we can put you in contact. Our supplier community is always looking for new opportunities. I think I mentioned Leo Stella earlier. That is a international partnership that came and landed to make satellites, a lot of satellites in the Tukwila area of Washington. So we are ripe for that in this area.
Absolutely. And actually, Ahmed Al-Shazi, he's in Egypt, and he's always joining and watching what we're doing. And so it's just really amazing that we have people from all around the world. And that, what's kind of cool is that we have these kind of summits where we can connect with people worldwide, and it makes it so much easier to do that. I believe that we're now in a world today where it's easier to collaborate and connect with people worldwide than ever before. I mean, it's just amazing that we can have opportunities like this. So I'm looking forward to many of you who are on this broadcast here today to taking the opportunity to collaborate in such an event like this. So Emily, tell us when it is again. What's when is the event, and how do people sign up and things like that?
Yeah, so the event is this Wednesday, and it's running from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., which Yes, sounds like a big chunk of your day, but the content is going to be exceptional. It's going to answer those questions that you have been grappling with this year, or like you said about workforce, or even with our space suppliers, questions that you've had for a while and want to get some perspective on. So it's Wednesday from 8 to 5. Like I said, it's all virtual. It's on a platform called Remo, Remo. So when you register at our website, afa-wa.com/aerospace/summit 2020, you will be able to get access to that Remo platform. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. afa-wa.com/aerospace-summit-2020. Go ahead and register on our website, and then we will get you set up in our system to join on Wednesday. And as we've said, there's a lot of networking time. And so we're just excited for people to come in and connect with each other in addition to hearing the content.
Now, you said there's actually going to be representatives that in the summit from some of the major OEMs and companies, right? That's what you said, right? Okay. And so if someone actually attends this virtual summit, is there potentially an opportunity to network with some of those people?
Yes, that's absolutely the point, right? So you'll be able to search on our attendees, who is there, and reach out to them, either sending them a message or, video chatting them at their table. This is your opportunity for that. So I think you mentioned you were on a networking event where somebody said, I feel uncomfortable. I don't really know what to do. That I think is really typical of these sort of after work happy hours, but we are experts in this industry at being able to network and market and find business development opportunities. So if anyone should attend, it's your, C-suite executives as well as your business development folks. That's who will be in the audience, and that's who should attend.
Look, I tell you what is that I believe that networking is so important. I mean, it's so important is that it's not really about what you can do personally as one person. It's about what people can do together, collectively. All right. And if you want to grow your business, if you want to be successful, if you want to expand your business, in a difficult time or in a good time, networking and engaging with other people, is so important. Just meeting people, learning from other people. Look, I can't tell you how important mentoring is. I mean, Emily, have you ever had people in your life that you felt been really good mentors at times?
Absolutely. Yeah, especially my board of directors.
Your board of directors. And has that been helpful to you in, moving forward in what you're trying to accomplish? Oh,
absolutely. Again, because of the passion that they have and the expertise they have in the industry, they've made a world of difference.
Yeah, I so appreciate you putting together this kind of an event with an opportunity to put, leaders and knowledgeable people and people that have connections and broad networks over many, many years out in front of people. And all you have to do is participate in a virtual event like this, and it gives people an opportunity to meet those people. Where else would you be able to go and meet people of that kind of, position and scope and knowledge?
Without flying.
Without flying.
Yeah.
I do miss flying. I have to admit, I posted a picture last week of me sitting in the cockpit of a 777 in Abu Dhabi, and I really like flying. I really do, but I have to admit, it's been kind of nice not to have to, be gone for 5 days to go to a one-day event or something like that, right? And so, you really got to think about that. That is a tremendous opportunity for us. We can really be more efficient and optimize what we're doing when we're not flying halfway around the world, to go to an amazing event such as this.
Well, to talk about your point of somebody being afraid or awkward. Yeah. I mean, aren't we kind of afraid and awkward when we're doing one-on-ones and meeting people anyway? I mean,
always.
There's always that, unknown factor when you're trying to meet somebody different. There's always a little bit of awkwardness or I don't know what to say, but that's in person or not in person, virtual. Yeah. So,
but if you put yourself into a situation like this, in an event like this, you're going to meet people, you're going to create connections.
And don't we all crave, yeah. Crave, that the relationship right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think of this as an opportunity too we haven't seen a lot of faces in a little while, right? We haven't been able to run into that person we only see at an event like this or catch up with them. And so this will be an opportunity to not only, see folks you've never met before, but then to reconnect and collaborate with those folks that you'd like to see again.
in an area that's super interesting. I mean, Emily, I didn't tell you this, but I've been in aviation all my life, and when I was 2 years old, my dad stood me on the wing of his first airplane, and I got my pilot's license before I could even drive, and I've just been in aviation all my life. That's why I feel like it's really an obsession, not just a passion, and so it's so important for me to be part of helping people like you, to be successful in promoting of aviation aerospace, because it's literally, I believe it's what connects people. Is that I can go to a virtual conference, but I'm still craving that day that I can go, back to Korea or go back somewhere, and meet people and be connected with people, and being part of the aviation industry is what makes that possible. And so, Emily, you are in the business of connecting people, is what you are. Okay. And it's amazing, to see people being part of that and engaging in that.
Yeah, it's great.
It really is. Emily, I'm going to give you a last opportunity. Looks like we have a few questions that have come in, but we're kind of running out of time here. And is there anything else you'd like to say about the AFA or about the aerospace industry? Just give us some last words of wisdom. Help us out with what should people be doing to be successful in the industry right now?
Collaborating and reaching out and make yourself known. Especially when it comes to the important advocacy work that we need to do, right? We have to get through another CARES Act assistance package at the federal level, and we need our companies to say, this is exactly what we need for our legislators to do to help us survive. Every time that we try to make a pitch for additional resources or ways to help, people are really heads down on sort of their own business plans, and that's great. I think this year we've seen so many people, pop up and say, how can I help? How can I collaborate? And so we're really excited to engage you again, but make yourselves known. So please, LinkedIn message me or get a hold of us somehow so that we can engage you on our advocacy efforts moving forward. And then, of course, come to the summit and hear, some great strategies on how you can take your business or yourself to the next level.
Fantastic. That's great. Let's get Emily's name up there again, the banner. I think we have a banner with her, don't we? I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of her on LinkedIn. There. Yeah, right there. So if you want to get a hold of Emily, it's Emily Wittman. She's the president and CEO of the Aerospace Futures Alliance. And we're really excited to have had you here today. And if people want to connect with Emily, just go to LinkedIn and look up Emily Wittman of the Aerospace Futures Alliance. And I'm sure she'd be happy to collaborate with you and to do some coordination and some networking.
Yeah,
sounds absolutely. Like a great. Fantastic. Emily, thank you so much for being with us today. And hey, listen, I'm going to challenge all of you is to get out of your comfort zone, go out there and network and collaborate. And, one good way to do that is on this virtual summit, the 15th annual Aerospace Summit on this Wednesday, which is the 14th, October 14th. Join it, be part of it, put yourself out there. Grow your business. Let's grow this industry. Let's really be successful in this industry. So I'm really excited about moving forward into 2021, like what you said, and looking forward to success that we're all going to have. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. And Emily, I really want to thank you for being on the broadcast with us today.
Thanks, Emily.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark and Susan.
Bye, everybody. I close up all my broadcasts by saying fair winds and following seas. And I want to tell all of you to have a great day. Bye.